JuiceRoomJuicers.com. Today on the episode many of you guys have been waiting for, we got the all-new Juice Off with the brand new Omega Juicers. Over on this side, we got the Omega NC800. Now this is a horizontal single auger style juicer that runs at 80 RPM. Then over on this side, we got the Omega Vert 400 HDS. Actually, both these guys are HDSs because they're both silver and they're both heavy duty. Now, I always get the question, John, what juicer should I buy? And, my answer is really, what kind of pair of shoes you're going to buy. It depends on if you're going to go to work, you're a, construction worker, you need the steel toes, or maybe you're a balanced leg dancer and you wouldn't be caught, not alive, in steel toe construction boots dancing ballet, right? Maybe you're going hiking, you need hiking shoes. And each one of these juicers have their own specific pros and cons, and my job is to simply share with you guys, the pros and cons of each one so that you can determine which one will best meet your needs, because I know you guys probably own more than one pair of shoes. I know I do, because I wear the pair of shoes that's going to best meet the need or what I'm doing at the time. So we'll give you a pretty simple synopsis of the pros and cons of each one. The Omega NC800 is basically the upgraded model of the Omega 8004 and 8006 series machines. That's known as the 4th generation horizontal single auger. Now the NC800 is the 5th generation. It's the newest model. And you can check back to my other videos to see the differences between the 8004 and 8006 and the NC800. I won't really get into that in this video, aside from saying it has a larger screen area and it has an adjustable outlet control for the pulp, which means in general, you're going to get from 7 to 13% higher yields. So this is the improved model. And the other major difference is that it has a much larger feed chute. It's about 80% or so larger. So this means you have to do less cutting and also less pushing. And I like that actually feature a lot. So those are the main differences. Over on the Omega Vert 400, the Omega Vert 400 is the new and improved model of the Omega Vert 350. Now, in my opinion, the NC800 is significantly improved over the 8004 and 8006, and the Omega Vert 400 is a slight improvement over the Omega Vert 350. Now, while the NC800 will get higher yields than the predecessor, the 8004 and 8006 models, the Omega Vert 400 will pretty much get the same yields as the Omega Vert 350, and that's because it uses the same auger, the same screen, the same wiping blade. Almost everything is the same except for a few minor changes. So one of the changes is it's easier to assemble and disassemble. So some people had challenges with getting the Omega Vert 350 apart after using it. You will not have that issue with the Omega Vert 400. Another new thing is right here, it's got a little stopper right here. And this actually stops the flow of the juice, which means, it's not going to drip on your countertop. Also, it allows you to mix juices inside the machine, which is really nice. Other than that, the Vert 400 is pretty much the same as the 350. Just got some new, cosmetic improvement and a little bit of different functionality. But for all practical purposes, if you put a pound of grapes in this one and a pound of grapes in the 350, you're going to get the same exact yield. And that's not the same with the Omega 8004, 8006, and the NC800. You're going to get a higher yield on the NC800. So this, in my opinion, is definitely a much better improvement than this one is over the 350. So next I want to disassemble these machines so that you can see what these machines are all about. Now both these machines run at a low and slow 80 RPM. That's revolutions per minute. That's really slow. Now in general, the slower the RPMs of the machine, the less the oxidation, and which means you're going to get consequently a higher quality of the juice and more nutrition extracted out of the juice. That's why I really pretty much favor for the most part these days, and only use in my kitchen for the most part, 99% of the time, the slow running machines, because I'm juicing for the health of it, It's nice having a little bit more yield, but I really want a juice that's really healthy, and the slow running juicers, based on the research I've seen, produces a much higher quality juice with more nutrition contained within it, even if in some cases the yields are a little bit less. So some of the studies I've seen show that the slower running machines can contain up to 50% more nutrition for certain nutrients than the high-speed centrifugal ejection machines that run at 10,000 plus RPM and sound like an airplane taking off in your kitchen. So now we're going to go ahead and disassemble the NC800 machine, and the NC800 machine is a horizontal single auger juicer. What does horizontal single auger juice mean? Well, it's very simple. It has an auger in there and it's running horizontally. That's like being parallel with the table. And this is the horizontal auger. As you can see, it's actually nice and long and skinny. And how this works specifically is that there's a piece of produce is put in. This auger is spinning. It basically, on the initial crush, it actually juices squeezed out stage number 1 right here on the bottom. And then the product or the produce is then worked along this little cone where it's literally compressed and compressed. And then finally the juice is squeezed out the juicing screen. Now this juicing screen is larger than the juicing screen on the previous 4th generation model. And finally, before the pulp comes out the end, the new NC800 has a little end cap here with a dial on it. So you can adjust this from 1 to 5. And what this does is this puts additional back pressure on the pulp. So if you're juicing carrots, you're going to want to set it to a 5. And if you're juicing softer fruits, you're going to want to set it on a 1. If you have this set to 5 and you're juicing some softer fruits, what's going to happen is the juicer will start to back up on you. So that's no fun. So there is a little bit of, learning curve with this. You're going to have to learn, like, oh, when I put in apples and they're, at the end of the season, they're softer, they're mealier, I'm going to have to put it on a lower number. And, if I'm juicing those apples with carrots, I can still put it on the 5. And, this is something you're going to have to play with. I like that the Omega 8004, 8006 had no adjustments. You could literally put whatever in and juice. But, with these adjustments and the new improved screen, you will get higher yields than the predecessor model. So this is the horizontal single auger machine. And over on this side, we have the Omega Vert 400, and this is a vertical single auger machine. So on the Omega Vert, what this is a vertical single auger, and let's go ahead and undo this and take the top off. So this is a vertical auger because it's running vertically, and over on this side, the NC800 has the horizontal auger because it's running horizontally. So as you can see, these augers will be different shape, and that's just the design of it based on how it's going to work. But both these augers are made out of the GE Ultimate material that's 8 times harder than plastic on other juicers. So they're really durable. Now, how this machine works is that you put produce in the top, and this little auger comes by and actually nicks off a piece of it. And it's pretty much the same way. On the initial crush, when you put something in, and the juice starts coming out, it comes out this stage right here, which is stage 1, and then the auger works the produce and crushes it more, and then more juice is squeezed out on stage 2. At the same time this is occurring, this wiping blade is running around the machine, and I like this wiping blade because it may mean you get higher yield because it does keep your screen clean, because that's a challenge the other machines may have, that the screen gets clogged with pulp. But with this, it's going to help keep the screen clean. In addition, on the Omega Vert 400, instead of an adjustable outlet like the numbers on the NC800 1 to 5, you just have a little pulp flap. So this yellow flap is on a hinge, so you'll never lose it, which is nice. And always when juicing, you're going to want to push this pulp flap in all the way. As you can see, when I push it in all the way, it covers this little outlet here, and that's where the pulp travels through. Again, I'll take that out so you guys can see, and it goes right in. So what this pulp flap does, it puts some back pressure and keeps the pulp inside the machine so that the pulp doesn't come out when it's wet. It'll keep it in the machine so that it gets a further extraction so that you get a higher yield. So let's go ahead and reassemble these machines, and they're both very simple and easy to reassemble. On the Omega Vert 400, you simply take the body, put it on there. We're going to go ahead and take the wiping blade, put that right in the screen, and then put the auger. So there's a little white arrow here on the juicing screen that we're going to line up with the white arrow that's right here on the top of the juicer. Then it basically snaps into place. You're going to put the auger right in there. It should lock into place. Then we're going to take the top, and on the top, once again, there's another little white arrow that we're also going to line up with this white arrow and this white arrow here. We're going to put that right on, and then we're just going to go ahead and rotate this until it's locked into place, and we're all ready to go. So now we're going to assemble the Omega NC800. Very simple, very easy. We're going to go ahead and take the main body, and on the top of the machine, there's a little collar here with a lever that says open and close, and this can be moved back and forth. What you're going to simply do is put it to the open position, put the main juicing body right in there, and then slide this over to close. That'll lock this into place. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and take your auger. Auger runs right down the middle of the machine, put it right into place. Now, I want you guys to be aware that there will be a small half-inch gap between where the auger is and it going into the machine. This is completely normal, so do not be alarmed.
Next, we're going to go ahead and take the screen. It's very important also when you're assembling this machine. This first stage screen is always pointed directly down. We're going to run that straight into the machine, sets into place. Next, we're going to go ahead and take the outlet casing here and put that in. You got to line up these little doohickeys here to open and close. We're just going to go ahead and put that in and line it up, tighten it up into place. And then finally, we're going to put the outlet adjusting end cap here that sets your pressure right on, and we're going to go ahead and set it to 5 because what we're juicing today is some cactus fruit. So I hope you guys understand the differences between the Vert 400 and the NC 800. They're both using the same single auger technology, which is a cold press technology, and this one's just running horizontally, this running vertically. In general, from the tests I've done in the past, the horizontal style machine works better at juicing things like leafy greens. The predecessor models that I've tested, the NC 800 style had 25% higher yield on leafy greens, like juicing them straight. But over on this side, if you're juicing something like fruits, in general, the Omega Vert juicer juices fruits better. And with hard vegetables like carrots and whatnot, they're probably both about the same. And of course, the other thing is that the Omega Vert will cost about $100 more, so then you got to factor that into play, like is it really worth $100 to you? Now before I go on, these are high-end juicers. These aren't for the casual person that just wants maybe juice once a week, unless you're super wealthy or something. These are machines that literally can change your life. They've changed my life, and they could change your life too. You're like thinking, John, how can some juicers change my life? Well, the juicers, what they are to me, they're an investment, and they're an investment in the most important thing you got, your health. Health is your greatest wealth. You may have heard that, but you may not take that to heart. By owning juicers and by buying juicers, it got me eating some of the best foods on the earth, which most people, frankly, do not eat enough of. The standard American probably eats about 60% of their calories from processed foods and junk foods, which, have very little to no nutritional value, in my opinion. Next, they eat maybe 25% animal products, which, in my opinion, is also a bit too high. I eat significantly less than that. And then finally, maybe 10% is fruits and vegetables, and most of that is probably mostly made up of potatoes, which, in my opinion, is probably not one of the healthiest vegetables to eat. So the juicers allow you to eat more fruits and vegetables, and fruits and vegetables, in my opinion, are some of the healthiest foods on earth. And by using these guys, you can make eating and consuming more fruits and vegetables fun, easy, and also very nutritious. So because these juicers are an investment and invested in your health, you want to make sure and ensure you have a long warranty. Many juicers on the market may only have a short 90-day warranty. Maybe some have a 1-year warranty and you're thinking, wow, 1-year warranty. That's really good, man. That's a long time for a juicer. But check this out. These juicers here on the table, they have the longest warranty in the entire juicing industry. 555. 15 years is how long you will be guaranteed that you will have a juicer that will be allowing you to consume more fresh fruits and vegetables. And some of the things that I found by consuming more fresh fruits and vegetables is that, number 1, I lost weight. Number 2, I had more energy and, more importantly, mental clarity. So for whatever job you guys may be doing or I'm doing, I'm spot on and I could perform better in the time that I have to do the tasks that I'm doing. Another thing it's allowed me to do is to build my health to a greater level because it's the different nutrients, the phytochemicals, the phytonutrients, the vitamins and minerals in the different plant foods, fruits and vegetables that, in my opinion, allow us to have a greater level of health. Some of the top diseases in the country right now that are afflicting Americans are, in my opinion, diseases that do not need to happen, but it's based on what you're putting into your body. I mean, one of the oldest sayings in the book is, you are what you eat and absorb. And, the juicers allow you to better absorb some of the nutrition in the fruits and vegetables, and that's why I like them so much. So actually, I'm holding up these guys, so let's talk about what we're going to juice today, because you're like, John, what the heck are those things? Well, these guys are called cactus pears, also known as tunas, or cactus figs for some people. And what these are the fruit of a cactus plant. Yes, cactuses that grow in the desert, and these are very nutritious foods. Actually, there's research out there that shows these may help prevent things like cancer. This also is research out there and testimonials that I've read that it helps control blood sugar if you're diabetic. And you know, to me, it's just different nutrition that I can include and get into my body, because I don't want to just give my body bananas and lettuce all day. I want to give it a whole different spectrum of different fruits and vegetables, and always include different ones in my diet, because the nutrient that you need the most is the nutrient you're not getting. So when was the last time you guys, ate cactus fruits? Probably far and few between that people eat these guys, unless you're maybe from Hispanic descent and use these in your culture, because most Americans probably never heard of cactus fruits or tunas. So if you want to get these guys, you probably got to go to a ethnic market, maybe a Mexican market or Asian market, and some larger grocery chain stores may also have them. But the secret is, if you go to that Mexican market, you're going to get these for incredibly inexpensive. These were on sale when I got them, and they were 10 for $1. I mean, that's cheaper than wholesale. Normally they're about 3 for $1, and sometimes they're like 99 cents a pound. But these pack a wealth of nutrition in them. So now we're going to show you guys the different colors of the cactus pears that I have today. We got a couple different kinds. Mainly we got two kinds. We got the green kind cactus pear. Now some people might think, John, the green cactus pear, that's not right, man. Well, guess what? The green one will turn into this color right here, like a nice, bright yellow color when ripe. And so that's this one kind we got here. Of course, I always encourage you guys to select your fruit as ripe as possible. So if you're selecting it from a big bin, you want to try to get the nice yellow colored ones if they're in the green cactus bin. Another kind of cactus fruit that I have purchased in the past is the red cactus fruit. And the red ones, what will happen is they'll be green and then turn red. And then the last kind, I don't have that kind today. And then the other kind I have today is actually the purple cactus fruit. So once again, the purple cactus fruit will turn from green to red. So much like apples, these guys will change color. So, even though Granny Smith and our Golden Delicious apples, they're, the green color and they're ripe, all the apples start out as green on the tree and then kind of change shades a little bit when they're ripe. That's the same with the cactus fruits. So next one I want to show you guys is actually how to take the skin off. I got really sick one time by actually just juicing or blending up the cactus skin with the little stickers on there as well. Normally when I buy these at the Mexican market, they've de-thorned them, but you do have to be careful. Sometimes there may be some little prickers on there that'll get you. So it's really simple and easy to prepare these guys for juicing. Let me show you guys how to do it. So we're just going to go ahead and take our ripe cactus fruit here, and what we're simply going to do is place it on the cutting board. We're going to cut off the end right here, which is where it was attached to the plant. We're just going to go ahead and cut that section off, and then we just have the flat side. We're going to go ahead and spin around to the back side, and this is the bottom of the cactus here, and we're just going to go ahead and cut that section off as well. So now we cut off both sides, and now what we're going to do is we're going to make an incision right down the middle through the skin again, and once we did that, I like to put the knife and hold the knife down on the cutting board, and as I just roll the fruit right out of it. There you go, that's the fruit. This can now go into your compost pile to feed your soil instead of the landfill. Next, to juice, because the feed chutes are a bit small, we're going to go ahead and cut these in half. And as I cut it in half, this will be why that most people don't often eat cactus fruits. You'll see inside here, there is a ton of seeds inside here. A lot of seeds in here, so while you can chew up and eat the seeds, they are quite hard, and I don't recommend it. It's kind of a pain in the you-know-what. So what I like to do is juice them. And that's what we're going to do today. I've actually taken the liberty to prepare about 3 pounds of cactus fruit. I got 3 pounds over here and 3 pounds over here. So we're going to have a juice off. We're going to juice 3 pounds of cactus fruit in each of the machines. So now, first, for the weigh-in. Over on this side, we got the Omega Vert 400, and we're going to check out the scale. As you can see, it's 3 pounds on the scale. Definitely all ready to go. Next, we're going to go over to the Omega NC 800 side. As you can see, we got more cactus pears. Let's go ahead and do a close-up on the scale. As you guys can see on the scale, once again, 3 pounds exactly. So 3 pounds of cactuses is going to produce a lot of juice. In general, right, depending on what you're juicing, but in general, 1 pound of produce equals approximately 1 cup of juice. So these cactus pears will probably produce around 3, maybe 4 cups, depending on some produce items are juicier than others. So this will be really interesting to find out to see which juicer will reign supreme in this juice-off. Now, I am juicing cactus pears today because that's actually what I'm having for lunch, and I will have future juice-offs comparing things like carrots and leafy greens in these two machines. So if one machine or the other machine wins in this juice-off, it doesn't mean it's going to win in a different juice off using different, vegetables or fruits. Because each juicer tends to juice certain produce items better than others. Now, I do need to give you guys a disclaimer. In the past, I've always used the Omega Vert series to juice my cactus fruits. I've never really used the horizontal single auger style machines because it's the older machines in this series, the 4th generation, are such a pain in the butt. You have to have a smaller feed chute, and you literally have to use the pusher to push each and every produce item down in the machine. With the Omega Vert, I like it because it is literally self-feeding, and you should not have to use the pusher in the Omega Vert. If you are, you're probably feeding things in too quickly, and it's getting stuck, so don't use the pusher in the Vert. Now, on the NC800, from my test so far, it's been virtually self-feeding, but not as self-feeding as the Omega Vert. Now, I like the self-feeding feature because it makes it a lot more convenient for me and allows me to do other things like chop things up before putting it in the machine to save some time. So I guess without further ado, let's get into the juice off. We're going to go ahead and move these guys over. And I guess what we're going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and turn both machines on, grab one piece at a time and just drop them in the machine, and we're going to see what happens. So before we get into juicing, I want to talk really quick about the collection bowls that we'll be using. The collection bowls come with each of the machines, and you get the NC800, you get this collection bowl for the juice, and you get this one here for the pulp. And actually, this one is significantly larger than the one on the previous model Omega 8000 series. This one actually holds 32 ounces of liquid. Let's go ahead and put it right back underneath there. Get this guy set up. Now you're thinking, John, that's one of the benefits of the Vert, right? It can hold more liquid. Well, actually, this one's marked out to 32 ounces as well, so it holds the same amount of liquid. Also on the Omega Vert, you get a large collection bin. Actually, this is significantly larger, I believe, than the collection bin on the NC800, so this makes it easier so that you can juice more instead of having to stop, juicing. So let's go ahead and set this guy back up, and without further ado, let's get into the juice off. So next, let's go ahead and turn the Omega Vert 400 on. As you can hear, it's actually quite silent. Over on the Omega NC800, it's also fairly quiet as well. Let's go ahead and take a piece of cactus fruit and drop it in each machine. As you can see, the Omega Vert is self-feeding, and on the NC800, we're going to have to push things in a little bit more. So we're going to have to use that pusher. This is one of the reasons why I like the Omega Vert, because it is so much easier to use than the NC800, where you literally have to push each produce item in because the machine will not fully accept it like the Omega Vert will. Go ahead and put another piece in. See, this is a part of the horizontal single auger machines that I don't care for too much. You really have to use the pusher. What we're going to do now, I guess, is probably because I got to use the pusher on that, and I want to keep all the produce in the right machine, is I'll probably juice in the Omega Vert 400 first, and then we're going to go back to the NC800 to juice the rest of that stuff up. So let's go ahead and continue to put some of the cactus fruit into only the Omega Vert 400. So as you guys can see, as I feed these cactus pears in, got the pulp coming out on this side, and yes, the pulp is fairly dry. The Omega Vert is really crushing and squeezing and extracting the liquid gold, the juice, out of these cactus pears. And look at all those seeds coming out, man. I want to show you guys those seeds. Check out all those seeds. I mean, pretty much what's being injected is like 80% seeds. And, there's just very little fruit pulp coming out. And this makes it easier for you to consume the cactus pears. Otherwise, you'd have to deal with all these seeds. And that, to me, is the benefit of juicing. I mean, literally, the juicer will make the fruit or vegetable you're putting into it more bioavailable. It takes away the fiber so that your body's digestive system can extract the nutrients out of the juice, because your body is nothing more or less than a juice extractor if you think about it. We have little villi in our small intestines that only absorb the nutrition out of things in a liquid state, and that's why you're supposed to chew your food into a baby food, into a mush, before you swallow. So as you can see, I'm probably more than halfway done juicing these cactus fruits in the Omega Vert 400, and it's working amazingly. Alright, so we're going to pour the last bit of cactus fruit into the Omega Vert 400. Wow, check it out, it's produced over 32 ounces of juice from the 3 pounds of cactus pears. I'm going to go ahead and turn this machine off, and one of the features I like about the all-new Vert 400, we're going to go ahead and put the stopper in so that this does not drip on the counter. So now that we got the Omega Vert 400 juice made, let's go ahead and go with the NC 800, because now I'm going to have to put each cactus pear in the juicer and then push it in with the pusher. So this, in my opinion, is, not so good, but we're going to see what kind of yield we get. I wish this was a little bit more self-feeding, but while this is more self-feeding than the previous series, it's still not as self-feeding as the Omega Vert. So for juicing my cactus pears, I'll probably still use the Omega Vert, because this just slows you down a little bit, having to dump each piece in and then push it in with the pusher. As you guys can see, I got this on the number 5 setting right there, so that's the tightest setting. That means it's going to keep the pulp in the longest. And while this is a fruit, the reason why this works is because of the hard seeds. The hard seeds give it something to eject, and I really want to show you guys this pulp here. This pulp coming out of the NC 800 is, significantly drier than on the Omega Vert. I mean, it's literally chewing up the seeds. The Omega Vert ejected the seeds almost pretty much whole, whereas this machine is pretty much putting out almost looks like some kind of flour. It's extracted so much juice out of these cactus fruits. Let's go ahead and continue to juice in the NC 800, pushing each piece of cactus fruit in there. Now, one of the things I want you guys to notice is that inside the body of the NC 800, you'll see it's just totally full of liquid. And this is because we probably have the adjustment setting to number 5, and it probably should maybe be at a 4. If this is to back up too much more and maybe go up in the feed chute and have too much liquid in it, then we're going to want to adjust the setting a little bit. But so far, so good. You always want to, keep the adjustment here at the highest number possible, and then lower it if you need to. Of course, if you're just juicing softer things like fruits in general, then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to set it at a 1 or 2 anyways. Another thing that's very important is, as this is running, you're going to have to let this run a little bit and let it run to try to get this down a little bit, because if you keep pushing in produce, you might be pushing it in too quickly. So as you can see, we're just letting it hang out, run a little bit. As it's running, more juice is coming out, and also more pulp is coming out the end there. So we're a little bit more than halfway done juicing these delicious cactus pears. And when I used to watch the Flintstones when I was a kid, Fred would make a thing called cactus cooler, and that's what we're going to make today with the cactus pear juice after we've weighed it all out. Now, one of the things that's very interesting is I'm looking at the Omega NC 800, and one of the things that's happening is because this is a 2-stage machine. Upon the initial crush, juice is being squeezed out, and then the second stage, more juice is being squeezed out. So I'm seeing a lot more pulp going into the juice. So if you want a thicker, full-bodied juice, more like a nectar, then you're going to want to go with the NC 800. You want more of a juice consistency, more liquid, then the Omega Vert may be the way to go. So I'm seeing a lot of extra nectar coming out of the machine. It's a lot significantly thicker than on the Omega Vert 400. And you can see some of that nectar here coming out this side where the juice is coming out. Over on this side we can see pretty much a juice stream, but this is almost like really super clumpy, man. So this is going to add, significant texture to the juice. Something you may or may not like. So as you can see, we're backing this guy up pretty good. We got a nice, really big line of juice in there. And it's just not really going through the machine too well, so we might loosen this off to maybe a 3 or 4 to just get a little bit more pulp flowing out of it. If we could get that to go down a little bit, let's go ahead and add in, some more cactus fruit juice. As you can see, lots of excess pulp or nectar going into the juice there on the bottom. So that was the last piece of cactus pear going into the Omega NC 800. Next, we're going to go ahead and pour the residual liquid in through the machine, some extra seeds. As you guys can see that this is running, some of the juice and whatnot is just staying in the machine. It's just not even coming out. So that's just how this machine works. With any juicer, there's always going to be some residual liquid and pulp left in the machine after you're done using it. Now, to minimize this, what you can do is let the machine run for a few minutes afterwards, and slowly but surely it'll get more of the pulp out and also a little bit more of the juice out as well. As you can see, it's gone down significantly and there's not a whole lot of juice left in. but it is still running out, but the collection container is getting quite full. So the NT800 just about done juicing. There's no more juice left in the auger area. We're going to go ahead and turn that off. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get some of this pulp here. And I want to show you guys in detail what these pulps look like. We're actually going to also weigh the pulp, the residual pulp left over, to show you how much weight is in the pulp. So here on the NT800, I want you guys to look at that pulp there for a second. And that pulp is really dry, man. All you see is pretty much ground up seeds in there. We're going to go ahead and carefully pour this in our cup here so we can measure the amount of the pulp that we're left with. Once again, we started with 3 pounds of cactus pears. And let's see here. Looks like we got, wow, man, 0.318 pounds. So about a third a pound of the pulp left, man. Super efficient, really efficient. Let's go ahead and get some of the pulp here out of the Omega Vert. And yes, there is probably still some residual pulp contained within the machine. And this pulp is definitely considerably wetter, and the seeds of the fruit are not as broken down. And man, this stuff is a lot heavier actually. So let's go ahead and get a weight on that. Get all leftover pulp inside there onto the scale. And there we go, check it out. What are we looking at? We're looking at approximately 0.612. And here's the comparison. 0.318 it's reading now, and it's 0.612. So, I mean, approximately there's like a lot of extra juice left in this pulp over on the Omega Vert side. So, you know, if you definitely want to go for yield, well, you know, it would appear that the NT800 did a lot better. I mean, this pulp is really, really dry, whereas this one still very, very wet. Now, besides just the juice left over in the pulp, you know, what's really important to me is the juice itself to see what it's like. So let's go ahead and move these guys out the way for you guys. And what we're going to do now to ensure that we have a fair test here, we're actually going to take out some measuring cups here, identical, with strainers. So identical strainers, identical measuring cups. And we're going to pour the juice through the sieve into the measuring cup. So we're going to take out the pulp. So we're going to see which one has more pulp left in the juice. And also, we're going to see how much juice is in it after we remove the pulp. So I guess we'll start over with the Omega Vert 400 after we get a little bit of juice out of there. And this is going to have to be very careful pouring this stuff because these are actually quite full. Start with the Vert 400 and carefully pour. Now, the cactus fruit juice is actually nice and thick. So we're going to go ahead and pour a bunch in there. We're just going to kind of shake the strainer down a little bit to, you know, work some of that juice through to remove the excess fiber if that's not desired. I mean, nothing wrong with drinking the juice as is, but I like a nice and clean and filtered juice. And one of the things I do need to mention is that on the Omega Vert 400, you do get an accessory straining screen that you can put on top of the juice collection cup to remove some of the extra fiber if you don't want it. On the NT800, they do not include this option, so you'll have to buy a strainer such as this one if you want to remove some of the excess pulp. So as you can see, we've shaken this down. Just have a little bit of pulp left in there. Now we're going to go ahead and pour some more juice to strain it out. Let's go ahead and strain out the rest of the juice here. Alright, that's all the juice. Now we just got to strain it out. So we're just about done straining the juice made in the Omega Vert 400. You can see this is how much pulp was left after we strained it all out. We're going to go ahead and set that aside. So we want to compare that in just a little bit. And we're going to set our juice aside. Measuring on the Pyrex measuring cup, looks like we have almost 1,000 milliliters. Just about 1 liter. So it's almost 33 ounces. We're just a tad above 32 ounces on the measuring as well. So now we're going to go ahead and take our Pyrex measuring cup, strainer once again, and we're going to strain out the juice from the NT800. This is going to be significantly harder because, man, this thing is super overflowing. If I even breathe, it's going to spill, man. Maybe I'm going to have to transfer it to a secondary vessel so I can pour it easily without losing anything. So I got the Vitamix crap to the rescue here because this is going to be crazy if I try to pour it We're just going to quickly dump this in here so we don't lose any juice, hopefully. Whoa, pretty good. Didn't lose one drop. Well, maybe one drop. All right, so now that we got it in here, we could carefully pour it where we need to so that we can see the comparison. Let's line it up right there. And man, this is a lot thicker. And there's definitely some chunks of stuff coming out. As we're pouring that through, we're just going to set that down. And once again, we're just going to have to tap this juice through. We're almost done tapping this through, but this is there's significantly more pulp and actually it's ground down to a finer consistency. So it's not straining as easily as the Omega Vert juice did. A lot more fine, smaller particle size. Let's see, let's go ahead and pour the last half of the NC800 juice right in to the strainer, and lots more particles from what I'm seeing. This is more of a nectar than a juice. It's significantly thicker, in my opinion, which, depending on your needs, may be a good or a bad thing. Let's go ahead and continue to strain this juice. We're going to be very careful at this point. All right, so I'm continuing to strain out the juice here, and we're currently about 32 ounces. We still got a lot of juice left to strain through here, but I'm having some challenges. I mean, this is taking an excessively long time, in my opinion. And what has happened here is that the Omega Vert 400 did a good job at juicing, got a lot of liquid out, and some large particles that were easily strained out with the strainer. With the NC800, what happened is because the juicer was actually more effective in breaking open the seeds, getting nutrition out of the seeds, putting it into the juice, it also got a lot more fiber. That's why the pulp was also a lot drier, because it did go into the juice. And that pulp that is coming out into the juice is a nice fine consistency, and it's actually clogging up the screen. So, if you like a pulpier juice in this situation, the NC800 is the one you want to go for. If you want a nice clean juice that's easy to, screen out and filter, then the Omega Vert 400 would be a better choice. I'm going to go ahead and continue to strain this juice out. So now here's the part you've been waiting for. Let's check out how much each juicer made. So we're going to go ahead and go to the Omega Vert side first. You can see the Pyrex measuring cup is up to about 950 milliliters of juice, and that's almost maybe 33 ounces or so, maybe right around 33 ounces. Over on the NC800 side, we got a different colored juice. So, this is a lot lighter color, this is a little bit darker and more vibrant color, and I can only explain that because the NC800 really crushed up the seeds and put some of the seed coloring in there, which made the juice darker. It doesn't look as appetizing, but in my opinion, it's actually probably more nutritious because you got some of the nutrients from the seeds in the juice. And this one made straight up about 1,000 milliliters of juice. So that's about 50 more milliliters. So in sheer volume, the Omega NC800 takes the cake. But besides just the sheer volume, also the nutrition, which I personally have to say the NC800 probably has a little more nutritious juice because it extracted some of the nutrients from the seeds, and many seeds contain essential fatty acids that are really good for you and also may increase the absorption of the nutrition in the juice itself by slowing down the digestion process. Now, the thing that's most important to me is how it tastes. If this one tastes nasty because it has some of the seeds in there juiced up, it won't be as fun to drink, and if you got kids especially, maybe they won't drink it even though they know that it's good for them. So let's go ahead and do the taste test. First, let's go ahead and try the NC800 juice. Wow. Nice and thick. Not super sweet. I can taste like a lot of texture. It tastes like, a nectar, like a peach nectar versus a peach juice. The nectar has a lot more texture in there. And even through the strainer, it got some small pieces of seed fragments that I'm tasting as I'm drinking the juice. I mean, that was alright. Let's go ahead and taste the juice out of the Omega Vert. Wow. Big difference. A lot less texture in the juice, more of a finer consistency. I wouldn't still say it's a juice, it's more of a nectar, but significantly less nectarish than the NC800 juice. And because it doesn't have the imparting of the crushed up seeds, which is probably more nutritious,
it tastes a whole heck of a lot better. So as you guys can see, if you're just going for yield, you want the highest yield on cactus pears, you want to get the NC800. If you want a better tasting juice, you want to go with the Omega 400. The juice tastes better, it looks brighter, and the other thing is that the price, of course, for the warranty, of course, is a wash. It's 15 years on the whole entire machine, so you'll be able to make cactus pear juice to enrich your nutrition and your family's nutrition for the next 15 years, man. That's crazy insane. But finally, the thing I want to say is that, for me, I'm only going to juice if it's convenient. I mean, there's no person buying a juice that's going to produce the most highest quality juice or, the most yield, 50 milliliters more, or whatever. If it's going to sit there because you think to yourself, man, I got the cactus pears, I got the juicer, it's going to do good, but man, I got to sit there and push each and every piece of fruit in. Such a pain in the ass. I'd rather, go play hopscotch or something. I'm the kind of guy that I'm super busy. I make videos, I teach on YouTube, I gotta run a business, I like to garden and have other hobbies, and I don't want to sit there pushing each piece of produce in. Now, you might be the kind of person that doesn't mind that and doesn't have much to do. Maybe you're retired. I like to just put the stuff through, not have to push it, let it come out, I'll filter it out, it'll work, it'll taste good. And, that's why I'm still going to use the Omega Vert to juice my cactus fruits, the majority of the time, unless I don't have a Vert bit with me and I have the NC800. So that's just my personal opinion. Now, the final thing I want to do is I want to make the cactus juice fun. While you could just drink the cactus juice straight up, some serving suggestions I want to give you guys is you can actually mix cactus fruit juice that we just made with some coconut water. That'll mellow it out, make it a little bit more watery consistency if you don't like it super thick. And the next thing is definitely even funner. So let me show you what I'm going to do. So the fun thing we're going to do, we're going to make margaritas. Just kidding. We're going to make actually a cactus cooler. It's like Fred Flintstone used to have. We're going to go ahead and pour our cactus juice. Check this out. Man, this is a really nice consistency. Nice and vibrant, light green color. The purple ones are even more fun because you get a nice purple juice. As you can see, we filled up a lot of the cactus fruit juice, and now we got the special ingredient. We got the Italian sparkling mineral water. Now, here, when I open this, listen carefully. You can hear that bubbles coming up. And now we're just going to simply pour our sparkling mineral water into our cactus juice. Dribble that right in there, man. And check it out, you can see it fizzing up, man. This is going to be that cactus cooler, that cactus soda that you never had when you were a kid, that you always wanted to drink when you're watching the Flintstones. And man, I can't wait. Check it out. L'Aquarium. That's what I call cactus soda. Truly delicious, and yet just another way to get more cactus fruits in here. Or you could do this to any juice you want. Just add some sparkling mineral water. Make it like a soda, but it's the healthiest soda you could drink. Because it's full of fruit sugar, but more important than the fruit sugar and not having high fructose corn syrup, it has all the different phytochemicals, the antioxidants, the vitamins and minerals that are not occurring in the flavored sugar water that many people drink in America today. So, hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode learning more about the two different juicers, but more importantly about the delicious cactus fruit juice, but also yet another serving suggestion so that you can include more of the fresh fruits and vegetables in your diet. Once again, my name is John Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com. Be sure to visit DiscountJuicers.com/YouTube for special promotional offers for our YouTube visitors. This is John Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com. Today I have another exciting episode for you. We're going to make something kind of tropical. And what we're going to make is not a juice, although we are using the Omega NC800 Nutrition Center, which is a juicer, but it's also a multi-function appliance. Besides making just juices, it'll make things like nut butters, frozen banana, and other fruit sorbets. It'll grind up and homogenize things into baby food. It'll grind your coffee beans